want to take a moment to wish every law enforcement officer who's watching this podcast, and those of you who are not watching this podcast, who should be watching this podcast, a happy Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. My family and I not only appreciate you today, but we appreciate what you do every day. You go out there and you are the true thin blue line between order and chaos and what goes on in our communities. And I want to thank you very much for everything that you do every single day, not only today. So from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of the Buie family, I want to thank you for what you do, and I appreciate you every day. 2025, as far as crime goes, I hate to say it was a good year because any crime is a bad year, but from 2024 to 2025, we reduced our Part 1 offenses down. They were down 17%, which our murder, we had 11 murders in 2024, and we had 5 in 2025, which is a 55% decrease. And I say that it's hard to sit here and say that crime is down, and that's a good thing. It is a good thing that it's down, but there are people out there who are still victims of crime, that it doesn't matter if it's 17% or 80%, it's not zero. And 0 is the only acceptable number for us. So in saying that, I appreciate all the hard work, and I'm glad we're on a downward trend in crime. The last 3 years, our crime rate is down probably 26%. And that is always a good thing. But until it's at 0, we have victims of crime. And to those families out there watching that their family members were victims of crime, or they were victims of crime, I want them to know that we won't rest until the people that committed those crimes are brought to justice, and we won't rest until we have no victims. We're going to keep pushing forward. Yeah, for us, the tactic that we take in reducing crime is, I believe that in order to reduce crime, we take people who are committing crimes and hold them accountable. Whether it be through a summons or whether it be through incarceration, we hold the people responsible for crime. We hold them responsible for that crime. We hold them accountable, and our units, our SIU unit, our neighborhood enforcement team, our detective bureau, our uniform patrol divisions, our clerical staff, everybody focuses on that. And we act on actionable intelligence, which we have an intel division that provides us with information about these are the subjects that are committing the most crimes in our city, whether it be property crimes or violent crimes, and those are the subjects that we will focus on to try to reduce those numbers. And the main goal is to hold the people accountable who are committing the crimes. We had 2, and what we do is we schedule 2 hiring events throughout each year. And in 2025, we held 2 events, and through those 2 events, we received over 100 applicants to the police department. Right now, we're on a very good downward trend in our vacancies. We're down to 6% vacancies for law enforcement, for sworn law enforcement, and 7% vacancies department-wide. And that includes communications, animal control, clerical staff, everybody. So we continue to push down. What I will say to people out there watching, that if you want to be a Suffolk police officer, you better hurry up, because we are filling up. And we are filling up. We are sending at least 18 people to the academy this month. And then we're already starting to fill the academy vacancies for June. So what's going to happen is, the first time this has happened in a very long time, is that we're going to have a limited amount of people that we can send to the police academy, because we're going to be full. Before, we were just, anybody and everybody that we hired, we wanted to get them in the academy, whether it be 25, 30, 15, whatever that number would be. But for the first time in a very long time, we're going to only be able to, come June of next year, we're only going to be able to send a certain amount of applicants, because we will be full. So if you ever wanted to be a Suffolk police officer, it's time to apply now. It is time to apply now, because I promise you next year or 6 months from now or 8 months from now that that spot is not going to be available. So come on now, get them applications filled out. Yeah, this year on the law enforcement side, we were reaccredited for the 4th year, and that's just a big deal. It's a very big deal. It holds us to professional standards as a police department, and not very many police departments throughout the country are CALEA accredited. So Suffolk is one of those. So it's a huge deal to achieve, and it's a huge deal to continue to achieve, year to year. So I'm proud to say this year that our law enforcement side was accredited again, and our communications division was accredited again. So we worked towards, we could go for what they call the trifecta. We'll have communications, law enforcement, and training, all accredited, but we're not able to do the training portion of it because we belong to a regional academy and not our own academy. If we had our own academy, then I assure you that we would meet that trifecta and we would have all of those accreditations. And the numbers I have today here in front of me is our operations command, which tells me the total cost for service for the officers on the street, which means the only way they can receive that is to get it from communications. Communications to me they are just the unsung heroes. Not everybody can do that job. It's a very difficult job. I couldn't do that job, if tasked to do it, because it just takes so many different skills that they have, and they are truly, in my opinion, the first responders. They're receiving the call, they're passing it out to the officers. The officers answered over 141,000 calls for service this year in 2025. And it's hard to even comprehend that number. And in order for the officers to receive those calls have to come through our dispatch center. And I can tell you that the dispatch center is made up of very, very, very special people. Not everybody can do this job, and they do it professionally. They ensure that our citizens are safe. By getting the officers there, they keep them on the phone until the officers get there. They just do an all-around great job. And then when it's over for them, when that phone call is over for them and the officers arrive, they move on to the next thing. They don't get that opportunity of closure, like the police officer may get. And that's to me is what makes them so special, is just their versatility and their compassion and everything that they do for our police department and for our citizens. If you're a citizen out there and you ever get to say thank you to a dispatcher or a communications operator, you should take that time to do that, because they do a very difficult job and they do it very well. For us, the partnerships are priceless. It's everything. We cannot function without our community supporting us. Without our community partnership, we can't function. We can't police. And not only, do we partner with our community partnership, to me, is one of the most important, because without it, we can't exist. And I think we have a very, very good working relationship with our community, and that is because of all the effort that they put into it and all the effort that we put into it to be transparent, to talk to each other, to not make harsh decisions on something that happens in Minnesota. We're not Minnesota. We're not Minneapolis. We're Suffolk, Virginia. So our community treats us as such. They don't hold us accountable for what law enforcement officers do in another state or do in another city. They hold us accountable for what we do in our city. And we hold ourselves accountable for what we do in our city. The other partnerships we share, Mandy, we share, with the Sheriff's Office. Strong partnership, Western Tidewater Regional Jail, Western Tidewater Community Service Board, the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, the school administration and the schools themselves. We hold a strong partnership with them. Probation and Parole, Suffolk Redevelopment and Housing Authority. Without all of these different partnerships, our police department wouldn't be nearly as successful as it is. And that success comes from those partnerships, and we count on them, and we talk to each other, and when we don't always agree with each other, but we talk to each other and we work things out and we come to the best possible conclusion that we can come to and work things out. And I believe that's what makes our police department, what it is. The support we receive from our city council, from our city manager, city staff, other department heads, it's just one, I hate to sound cliche, but it's just one big family doing one job. And that for us is keeping the citizens of Suffolk safe. And we're able to do that. We're able to have these 17% declines in crime because of the hard work of the police officers, because of the hard work of the dispatchers, because of animal control, because of everything, and because of our community and our partners. That's why we're seeing that 26% downward percentage in crime for the past 3 years, is because of those strong relationships. Spec Ops in our city, as our city grows, so does Spec Ops. And for those that don't know, what that they do is, that's our Marine Patrol, that's our dive teams, that's our bicycle units, our trike units. They're when we have these special events, no matter how small the special event or no matter how large the special event, the Spec Ops division is what makes that happen. When you're out here at the parade and you see police officers, it takes, I want to say this year, it was 115 police officers to make the parade happen safely. And that's a crazy amount to think about. When you see that our citizens are able to attend these events and not only feel safe, but be safe, because the Special Operations Division in the police department puts in a great deal of time and effort to look at every possible thing that could happen, and that we have an answer for it before it happens. And at Peanut Fest, Driver Days, Taste of Suffolk, parades, all of those things, they don't go off without these. They don't go off safely without these people. And we never take anything for granted when we're putting on these events. We look at everything that could possibly go wrong, and we try to have an answer for that. And we're prepared. We want to make sure that we're prepared for everything, for the safety of our city and the safety of our residents, so they can come out and they can enjoy themselves and not have to worry about bad things happening. I want to make sure, first of all, that we know that for us as police officers, that we're never satisfied with any crime. It's very difficult for me to sit and say how well we're doing with crime when we still have crime. That's difficult to do. I know it don't seem like it's difficult, because I want to pay tribute when things are going well for our city and for our police department and for our partnerships throughout. But I want people to know that we don't settle for anything. We're always pushing forward to do better. We're always pushing forward to bring crime down in our city, to make our city a better place to be for our citizens, a better place to work, a better place to live. I live in Suffolk. This is going to be important to me long after I'm gone, that we have a safe city. So I just want our citizens to know that we work hard every day to make sure that our citizens are safe. And that's every division in this police department. That is from clerical staff to animal control to communications, uniform patrol, detective bureau. And all that being said, with those 300 some odd people, we can't get it done without your help, without these partnerships. We can't get it done. We need our citizens to tell us when we're doing good, and we need our citizens to tell us when we're doing bad. And I can assure you that if there's something that needs to be corrected in the Suffolk Police Department, then we will correct it. We hold ourselves accountable. We police ourselves very well and very strictly. We want to make sure that the transparency and the character and the integrity is always there for us. So we would never take that for granted. We need our citizens to tell us where we can improve and where we're doing good. It don't always have to be negative, when you call the police department. You can call us and tell us we're doing a good job too. We appreciate that too. Today is Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, so a couple phone calls would be nice. Somebody would say, "Hey, we appreciate you." But that's not why we do this job. To the officers out there, to our police officers, you truly, you are that thin blue line. We hear that term, but we live in a law-abiding society, and in order for that to happen, there needs to be police, and the police serve as that line between order and chaos, and we never, ever, ever take that for granted. We want to make sure that we're the safest city that we can possibly be. Until we're the safest city in America, we can't rest. Until Suffolk is the place where everybody wants to come, we can't rest. We got to keep pushing. We got to keep doing better, and we got to keep working as hard as we can. To all our police officers out there in the Suffolk Police Department, for 2025 has come to an end. We're moving to 2026. Thank you for all that you did in 2025. Thank you for the sacrifices you made, working holidays, working birthdays, working weekends, so the rest of us can rest easy. And we'll keep pushing in 2026. We have some good things on the horizon. We're working towards our 3rd precinct. We're working towards getting the Virginia pilot space opened up so we can get our fitness center and house some more office space over there for police. We're looking forward to getting Whaleyville training facility completed, so we'll have just a better place to train so officers can better serve our citizens. So with all that being said, thank you so much for everything in 2025, and that goes for our citizens and our law enforcement officers. Thank you so much for all that you did. Let's make 2026 a better year, and let's work hard to keep our citizens and our police officers safe. Thank you, I appreciate you every day.